Alright, solving linear equations by graphing. A linear function, all you need to know about it is a function in which the graph is a line. A linear line. To replace a related function for an equation, you replace 0 with f of x. So anytime you see 0, it just replaces f of x, and now you can say this is an equation for a function. So we have 2x minus 8 equals 0. We replace 0 with f of x, okay, or y. Remember, f of x is the same thing as the y coordinate. Okay, this just means what's the function of x, okay? Y is always the answer to that, okay? You plug in your x, you get your y. Any questions? All right, write this down. All right, so you're given this solve, and it says 0 equals 1/3 x minus 2. We just want to find what x equals. Okay, you're going to find out what your x coordinate is, your x-intercept. So what we do, okay, we just get x by itself. So I add 2 to both sides. 2 equals 1/3 x. Okay, I can't divide, so instead I times by 3 over 1. Cancels that out. Times both sides by 3 over 1. X equals 6. X equals 6. Okay, so this is what the x-intercept is. Okay, y was 0, so when y is 0, x is 6. Okay? X is what? 6. Alright, so you'll have problems where it just says solve. You also have problems where it says solve by graphing. Okay, and then other problems will be solve your own way. So you can either solve for x by making y 0, or you can solve by graphing, which is just trying to find where the it crosses the x-axis at. What is the x-intercept? So write down 3x plus 1 equals -2. So to do it, okay, what I'll do is I'll just make a table with x and y. I'll plug in an x to find out what my f of x is. But the first thing I need to do is I need to make it to where 0 is on one side. So I add 2 to both sides, okay, because you always want it to equal 0. So my deal here is 3x plus 3 is equal to 0. Okay, remember I can change 0 to f of x. So f of x is equal to 3x plus 3. Remember, f of x is the same thing as y. So now I just plug in a couple x coordinates and see where it crosses the x-axis at. So I'm going to go with, let's go -2. How about 1? Okay, and we'll see if it's crossed the x-axis by this point. So plug in -2. -2 times 3 is -6. -6 plus 3 is -3. -6 plus 3, -3. So then you plot that point, -2, -3. It's right there. Do 1. Okay, 1 times 3 is 3. 3 plus 3 is 6. Okay, has it crossed the x-axis in between these 2 points? Yes. So we look, where does it cross the x-axis at? Okay, it crosses right here, which happens to be -1. So that's my answer. X is -1. So anytime it wants you to solve by graphing, make one side equal to 0, make a little table, see where it crosses the x-axis. That's what we're looking for. The solution is where does it cross the x-axis at. Write this down. All right, so I already have 0 on one side, so I don't have to solve for it. Okay, I can just rewrite it as f of x equals 2/5 x plus 6. I'm going to pick a couple points here, put them on a table, and just see. Let's go with -10, and let's go with -5. Let's just see where they end up. So plug in -10 for x. 2/5 of -10. That's 1. That would be 2. So -4 plus 6 What is negative 4 plus 6? 2. Okay, so it's at 10, 2. Put in negative 5. We have 2/5 times negative 5 plus 6. That would cancel. That's negative 1. Negative 1 times 2 is negative 2. Negative 2 plus 6 is 4. So it's right here. Okay, has it crossed the x-axis yet? No. So what we have to do is we have to continue on. Okay. If you were doing it, you could scale it. Okay, let's just say that's 11, 12, 13, 14, 15. So I'm going to put negative 15 in here. Okay. 2/5 times negative 15 over 1 plus 6. That gives you 1. That gives you 3. What's 2 times negative 3? Negative 6. What's negative 6 plus 6? 0. So where does it cross the x-axis at? It crosses at 15. So 15 is my solution. Because that's the x-intercept.
So
Negative 15. Sorry.
all
Alright, now the next two we're going to do, okay, they're kind of special solutions. So please pay attention. We have 3x plus 7 equals 3x plus 1. I'm going to solve this algebraically, and then the reason there's a graph there is I'm going to show you what it looks like on a graph. So I want to get 0 on one side, right? That's my goal. Anytime you have something like this, so I subtract 1 to both sides, and then subtract 3x to both sides. Well, that leaves me with 6 equals 0. Is that a true statement? No. So I could replace 0 with f of x, so f of x is equal to 6. All right, when you have a case like this, when it's always equal to 6, this just means it's a horizontal line. Because remember, we can rewrite it as y equals 6. There's no solution here. 6 doesn't equal 0, so it doesn't ever cross the x-axis. It is a horizontal line. Well, yeah, you could say it has no solution. But if it wanted you to graph it, this is what the graph would look like.
So just get on the line that 6 is on and draw a big line.
Yep, because y equals 6. Your y coordinate's always 6, but your x changes. There's no set x.
So do you have to put y equals?
All right, write this one down. So I want to get, if I have something like this, I want to get 0 on one side. It doesn't matter which side, so I'm going to add 6 to both sides. This leaves me with 2x plus 2 is equal to 2x. I subtract 2x. Let's get rid of that, so I have 2 equals 0, which is not true, right? So if I had a function or a relation, we would say f of x equals 2, because I replaced 0 with f of x, right? This looks like a horizontal line because it doesn't cross the x-axis, so it's a horizontal line at positive 2. All right? So if there's no solution, but it asks you to graph it, this is what it looks like. Because there isn't an answer for x. It does not cross the x-axis. Okay? Any questions?